Usually as we get close to Pesach, it starts around Purim time, I have usually a conversation with my wife. And my wife is beginning this what's called the spring cleaning and making sure everything is checked. And I always tell her, my dearest wife, but you only are obligated to look for a kazais. A kazais is, as you know, my favorite schnapps cup. The purpose of the schnapps cup is to tell you how much is a kazais, so you should know, hey, how much you have to eat. The shear, like we discussed about the kazais and matzah. And when it comes to the lav, which is the prohibition of lo yeroy lecho chametz, you shouldn't have any chametz in your midst and in your domain, is only to a kazais that you could eat b'chtei achles pras. So there are those that say, and it's based actually in the Gemara, that if you have scattered chametz throughout the house, maybe it's mitzdarf, it could join together. But on the simple level, the Gemara says explicitly in Maseches Pesachim, things in Daf Vav, that piruri mimele batli, crumbs a person is mevatel. No one's going to get on the floor and start collecting the crumbs and eat the crumbs, especially today. So what's my point? My point is, why are we working so hard? And Baruch Hashem, my dear wife, reminds me, and even if she doesn't say it, I know it. Number one, before we give our comments, we have to really help out and say, what can I do to help out? That's the first step. Second step is hakaras hatov. Thank you so much. Because really, you're never going to change our dear Nashim Tzidkaniyos from doing what's called spring cleaning during Pesach. But number three, the Arizal says, and this is probably why the Nashim Tzidkaniyos, the righteous women, are so careful, is because, first of all, b'schus Nashim, we came out of Egypt. So to them, it's very dear. Number two, the Arizal says, when a person is careful with a chametz of mashru, a mashru of chametz, that means even though really they're not obligated, a person is then guaranteed he's not going to sin the rest of the year. So now we understand that although it could be halachically, there's no obligation, but there's something very deep. Why? Because as we know, the Gemara Maseches Bracha says in Daf Yud Zayin that the chametz represents the Yetzer Hara. So therefore, it really reflects on what we want to really fix inside of us. But this is my suggestion. I hope it's taken in the right way. Halacha has to be clear. What is forbidden, what is not forbidden. Then there's what's called chumras, and especially when it comes to Pesach, there's a list of chumras. The idea of chumras is that a person wants to get so much closer to Hashem. If I like someone goes on a date, everyone knows the first date, how careful we are to make sure we open the door, not to say the wrong thing, and to smile correctly, and to make sure, we give the right tip, and everything is so meduktak. Afterwards, you get used to it, and almost nothing is left. A person wants to be so close to Hashem, so they take on chumras. They're careful with everything, and that's okay. But when the chumras make a person depressed, sad, anxious, then that's a sign. Go back to the basics. Ask your Rav exactly what is halacha, what's not halacha, and do not in any way compromise on your simchas hachag. That's the key. I think someone once said, make sure that Pesach, more than kosher, should be happy, and on Yom Noraim, on Purim, instead of making sure that that Purim is not so sameach, but it's kosher. So Pesach is a time where a person so easily could fall into the trap of not being happy, and therefore one has to be careful. Chumras are incredible, and they have to be respected, and they have to be treated with respect. And it's an amazing thing, but at the same time we have to know that simchas hachag, the simcha, the joy, the avos Hashem, in fact it's written that on Pesach is where we get our infusion for avos Hashem for the whole year. And the Yom Noraim, which is Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, we get the yiras Hashem for the year. We have to make sure we don't lose it, and we don't lose the opportunity. Hatzachah.